So, if you're watching this video, I have a confession to make. I didn't do a great job as a dad. My daughter was 8 years old and had been having nightmares about a creepy man in her new bedroom, but I just assumed that it was because of her overactive imagination. In reality, I should have been paying closer attention to the warning signs. It all started with the house. I mean, the price was unbelievable. It was half of what other homes were selling for in our neighborhood. And then there was the location. We moved into the home on a Sunday afternoon, and by Monday evening, we knew something wasn't right. First of all, the house was freezing, like unnaturally so. You would think a house in Tennessee in July would be warm, right? Wrong. This house was constantly cold, like it was holding its breath. Then there was my daughter Lily. She kept glancing nervously over her shoulder. She would stare off into corners and whisper. At first I thought she was talking to a toy, or maybe a friend from school. But then, one time I caught her talking to no one while sitting on the stairs. I asked her what she was doing and who she was talking to. She stopped, turned around, and looked at me innocently. "Talking to the man in the wall," she replied. "He says I'm his now." I forced a laugh. I really tried. But how could I not? The idea of my 8-year-old daughter being claimed by some entity in the wall was absurd. Plus, my wife and I needed somewhere to live, so we couldn't afford to let some stupid story about ghosts ruin our lives. "Don't be ridiculous," I told Lily. "There's no one in the wall." She shook her head and went back to staring into the corner. I thought nothing more of it until 3:12 a.m. rolled around. Now, I don't know why I remember the time so vividly, but I guess that's how vivid everything felt that night. I woke up without any sound reaching my ears. Not the hum of the refrigerator, the crickets chirping outside, or even my wife's steady breathing beside me. It was unnerving, like the house itself was holding its breath. I turned over, sat up, and realized my wife was missing. Panic shot through me. Where was she? What had happened? I jumped out of bed, stumbled toward the door, and flicked on the light switch. Then I went downstairs to find my wife. And there she was, standing in the darkness of the basement, eyes wide and mouth slightly open, like she was in a trance. "Karen," I called out, my voice echoing in the silent house. She startled, turned around, and I noticed she was whispering. "He's watching her sleep." I rushed to her side, grabbing her shoulders, trying to shake her out of whatever state she was in. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice sharp with concern. My wife blinked slowly as if coming back from a dream. I don't know," she stammered, shaking her head. "I had a dream. A nightmare." She reached out, touching my arm, her fingers icy cold. "Let's go back to bed," she whispered, but I didn't want to. Not after seeing the fear etched on her face. I wanted to get out of that house fast, but I didn't see my wife again that night. Not in the bedroom, not anywhere. And then, when I found her in the morning, she insisted we leave. No questions asked. As we packed our things, Lily stood silently by the window, staring out at the front yard. Something was different about her. Her eyes were dull, her gaze empty. It was like a part of her was missing. When we were finally ready to leave, I walked past Lily and placed a hand on her shoulder. She flinched, and I could feel the tremors running through her small body. "Are you okay, honey?" I asked, my voice soft. She didn't respond. She didn't even turn around. Instead, she continued to stare out the window as if mesmerized by something only she could see. As we drove away, I glanced back at the house, at the window where Lily had been standing. I felt a chill crawl up my spine, and I knew we had made the right decision by leaving. But that feeling of unease didn't go away. It followed us like a shadow, lurking at the edges of our days. And then, strange things began to happen. My daughter changed. She became distant, her laughter echoing with a strange emptiness. Sometimes when I came home from work, I would find her sitting in silence, staring at the floor or walls, as if seeing something only she could. Her eyes, once filled with life, now seemed vacant, like they were looking through me. It was terrifying. I never imagined a house could impact someone's mind like that. We moved into our new place, which was fine. It was just different. I worked long hours, trying to block out the horrors that haunted our previous home. My wife took care of Lily. At least, that's what I thought. I trusted her. I trusted her to protect our daughter, to shield her from the darkness that seemed to cling to her. But I was wrong. One night I came home early and I found them both in the living room, standing silently before the window. As I watched, my blood ran cold. My wife was gone. In her place was an eerie figure that shouldn't have been there. It was Lily, or rather, something wearing Lily's skin. Her eyes were blank, devoid of life. Her movements were mechanical, like a puppet controlled by unseen hands. It wasn't my daughter. It was something that had taken her form. Fueled by a surge of adrenaline, I lunged forward, knocking the entity away from the window. It turned, revealing a face that sent shivers down my spine. It was my daughter's face, twisted into a grotesque mockery of itself. Her lips curled into a chilling smile and her eyes, her eyes burned with an otherworldly fire. Fear paralyzed me for a moment, but then primal rage took over. I attacked, fists flying, nails scratching. I fought with every ounce of strength, but it was like battling the wind. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep it away. And then it whispered, the voice dripping with malice. "You can't win, Daddy. You never could." Those words pierced me, their truth echoing in my soul. With a final surge of strength, it pushed me away, sending me crashing to the floor. As I lay there, gasping for breath, it approached. I looked up, meeting its soulless gaze. It leaned closer, its fetid breath washing over me. "I'm sorry, Daddy," it rasped, its voice a haunting echo of my daughter's. "I didn't mean to scare you. It's just that I haven't played in so long." I struggled to speak, fear choking my words. What do you want?" I stammered. It tilted its head, a twisted parody of curiosity. "To play with you, Daddy," it purred, "to show you what I've become." Before I could react, it lunged. Its touch was ice cold, seeping into my bones, stealing my breath. And then everything went black. When I awoke, I found myself bound and gagged, suspended in the very same room where I'd battled the creature. Across from me hung my wife and daughter, or what remained of them. The sight was too horrific to comprehend, yet a single thought echoed in my mind. They were free. My daughter and my wife were finally free from me. From the moment we'd stepped into that cursed house, I knew I had failed my daughter. I should have heeded the realtor's warning about its history. I should have seen the signs. Instead, driven by desperation, I led my family into a nightmare from which there was no escape. As the creature approached, its eyes burning with triumph, I understood the gravity of my failure. I hadn't protected them. I hadn't safeguarded our family. And now, we were all trapped in the ultimate game orchestrated by an entity beyond our comprehension. The irony was that I had thought I was safeguarding my family by providing them a roof over their heads. But in doing so, I had condemned us all. The house had whispered its secrets, but I hadn't listened. Now, we were all bound to it, entangled in its sinister design. And as the creature loomed over me, its presence suffocating, I realized the depth of my despair. In seeking refuge, we had sought shelter in the lair of the very thing that had haunted us. Now, we were trapped in its clutches, and there was no escaping the nightmare that had become our reality.